In this video, we're gonna learn how to stop wasting time. As Benjamin Franklin said, lost time is never found again. We're gonna look into the subject of productivity. This video is broken down into 4 parts. The first thing we'll look at is what is productivity. Then we will look at the benefits of productivity. Then I'm gonna shape the productivity framework. Then we will look at how we boost your productivity. And I've got a special bonus section for you if you stay till the end. My definition of productivity is straightforward. It's doing more with less. So it's getting the maximum output with the least input. In this video, we're gonna look specifically at time. Time is a very, very important resource. Why is time important? Time is a very finite resource. There's only so much time that we have. And the nice thing that I like about time is very fair. We all get 24 hours in a day. No one gets more, no one gets less. But the main difference is what we do with our time. Some people are just able to do more with their time than other people because these people are able to be more productive. And in this video, we're gonna learn how to become much more productive and make better use of our time. One more thing about time is you need to understand that time is a resource just like money. There are 2 things you can do with money. You can either spend it or you can invest it. It's the same thing with time. You can either spend your time or you can invest your time. And we will look deeper into this. Benefits of being productive are massive. It means that you will have more time back to yourself. So at the end of this video, you'll understand the principles of productivity and you'll be able to have more time. So you can decide what to do with the extra time that you will have after applying the principles of productivity. This can be spending more time with your family, adopting a hobby, investing that time back to your own personal development. The list is endless. So at the end of this video, you will definitely have more time to spend on the things you really want to spend your time on. Let us look at the productivity framework. Productivity framework is broken up into 3 specific things: space, mind, and time. And I'm going to explain this in more detail. Let's start with space. Space is a key component of productivity. Let's start with our physical space. One of the enemies of productivity is clutter. Clutter eats away our productivity. So if our space is cluttered, we are not going to be as productive as we need to. And clutter can be your physical clutter, and it can be just the way you collect information. Now, the key thing about space is a concept that we refer to as collection points. Most people have at least 30 to 40 collection points. What are collection points? I'll give you some examples. A collection point is any place where you are collecting either items or information or data that is unprocessed. A receipt you put in the pocket of your car, a note that you write somewhere. That is your email that comes through. That is a WhatsApp that has not been read. There is an array of collection points that most people have. Email, your diary, things that are left on the table. The ideal number of collection points, and at the end of this video, you'll understand why, is around 6. And I'm going to share with you the 6 key collection points that you need to have in order to be more productive. The first and most important collection point is a physical box. This is a box where you put physical items that are not in their rightful place. What I usually do is when I get to my desk and there is anything on my desk, I just take everything away from my desk and I just put it in that box. The second collection point that we approve is your notebook. Very important about a notebook, and this is where a lot of people get it wrong. A lot of people use a notebook for both note-taking and for task management. That is the wrong way to do it. You need to find a way to separate your to-do list and your notes. How do you do that? There's a few ways. Some people take a page and split it into 2. The top part is the notes and the bottom part is the to-do list. Some people use the left page and the right page, etc., etc. So just make sure that if you are using a physical notebook, you are able to separate the 2. The third approved gathering point is your email. Email is very effective. We all use email. We use email for work. We use personal emails. If possible, try to combine your work email and your personal email, okay? The thing about email that a lot of people get wrong is that people just process emails as and when. So what happens is that the emails become your to-do list. What happens, people just sit in front of their computers just processing emails the whole day. That is highly ineffective. You need to make an appointment with your emails. The emails should not make an appointment with you, because you shouldn't react to your emails. You should proactively go and clear your mailbox at certain times. You can put a schedule and say, okay, I'm going to set 15 minutes every 2 hours to process my emails. So you shouldn't just reply to an email as you receive it. It's a very bad habit. Some people feel it makes them seem productive, but it is highly unproductive because of the fact that it causes you to switch your tasks. Another approved collection point is some apps. There are some apps that I recommend. In the link below, I've put in some of my favorite apps that I use. Try to use one app. I've tried a few. Just check which one works for you. The one that I personally like is Any.Do. It's great because it sends me WhatsApp messages, reminders, etc. It synchronizes with my calendars, etc., etc. So you can make use of the great apps that we have now. Your calendar, that is literally where you spend your time. That's your budget. We all have the 24 hours in a day, and you need to schedule as much as possible. Try to schedule your sleep, try to schedule your downtime, schedule your meetings, schedule things that you're going to do. So try to not have a lot of free time there. If there's something you're going to be working on, literally put it on your calendar and say, work on Q3 strategy. Another gathering point that we cannot get away from is WhatsApp. So WhatsApp can be a very powerful tool. There's WhatsApp groups. It's a way to communicate with a lot of people, but it can also be very, very distracting. Now, what should you do with WhatsApp? I suggest, just like your email, set an appointment, whether it's once every 2 hours, set 5 minutes aside to just check your WhatsApp. I think the key message here is do not react to notifications. Make sure that you proactively go and process the information that's coming through to you. Declutter your life. Have as few collection points as possible. Set times when you process. So there's time for collection, there's time for processing. There are items that are being collected all the time. You're receiving emails all the time. You're receiving WhatsApps all the time. There are things that are coming into your head all the time. You need to find a way to collect these things and need to set specific times to process. Do not confuse the two. Try not to combine collection with processing. So that is one of the key aspects of productivity space. Let's look at the mind. The mind plays a massive role in productivity. An enemy of productivity is a cluttered mind. A mind that just has so many things. The mind is very good at processing, not storing. So what most of us do, we want to use our minds for both processing and storing. If you think about a computer has a central processing unit and it has a hard drive. It's two separate functions. So the central processing unit, it's there to generate ideas, to process information, to solve problems. The hard drive is there to store information. So what you need to do is use your mind for the processing, for generating ideas, for the creativity, and then you remove those ideas and then you jot them into a different storage point. So what is your storage point? You store on your app, on your notebook, etc., etc. Do not try to get your mind to do both the memorizing and the processing because it's going to be less productive. And then time. The other framework of productivity is time. It all boils down to allocation of time. So you have 24 hours and how you allocate that time is a key principle of productivity. So you've got a budget and how you spend that budget for the maximum return. We know the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, that 80% of our results come from 20% of our effort. Just to sum up again, the key framework for productivity is space, the mind, and time. How do we boost our productivity? I'm going to share with you some simple tips and tricks that can help us become much more productive. The first rule in productivity is the 2-minute rule. In short, anything that will take you 2 minutes or less, you need to do it immediately. You shouldn't even schedule it. You shouldn't even put it on your to-do list. You should just go ahead and do it immediately. The next rule in productivity is the 5-minute rule. The 5-minute rule is based on Newton's law of motion. It's easier for something to continue moving if it's already moving. We know that an airplane uses so much fuel just on takeoff, and once it's up there, it uses very little fuel. This is the essence of productivity. The key thing is to get started. Getting started is the hardest part. Now, if you have that assignment that you need to do, that boring, laborious task that you've been putting off, what you need to do is to apply the 5-minute rule. Just get into motion. Do 5 minutes of that task. Once you do 5 minutes, you're already in motion. It's easier to continue moving once you've started moving. That's the 5-minute rule. That'll help you in productivity. So I've given you 2 big tips on how to boost your productivity. Apply the 2-minute rule, apply the 5-minute rule, cut your collection points to around 6. And make sure that you learn how to prioritize your time. If you're new to this channel, go ahead and subscribe and you'll get videos such as this one. You can have a look at this video to learn more about habits. You can look at this video to learn more about self-awareness. Now, as I promised, your bonus. Here is your bonus. One of the biggest thieves of time is the answer yes. When you say yes, you're basically saying no to a whole lot of other things. A powerful word to use is no, because when you say no, you are protecting your time. A lot of people find it difficult to say no, especially to their managers, etc. I'm going to give you tips on how to say no. Tip number 1, to say no. If someone asks you for anything, do not say yes, rather say, can I look at my diary and get back to you? That is a nice way of saying no. Do not commit to anything until you have looked at your diary. Get into the habit of looking at your diary before you commit to anything. That will protect your time. You are basically saying no in a nice way, and then it gives you time to think about it and to see if you can really commit, and then it buys you a lot of time. Now, a lot of people struggle when their boss says, can you do this for me? A lot of people struggle. Your boss comes to you and says, or your boss calls you or comes to you and says, can you do this for me quickly, or can you do this for me? A very, very powerful technique. Just say to your boss, boss man or boss lady, please put that on email for me. I want to make sure it's on top of my mailing list and I prioritize it. What does that do for you? It forces your boss to properly articulate what it is they want from you, and it buys you a little bit of time to see if you can really commit to that. Another tip, when your boss calls you and says, I need this, can you do this for me? Always say, boss man, what is the latest time you can accept this? Your enemy in productivity is multitasking. There is no such thing as multitasking. It's task switching. Task switching will eat away your time and it will make you less productive. When things are moving, they should continue moving. Focus on one thing, continue moving. What happens is that you have too many moving parts. This part moves, then it stops. You now use more energy to get this part moving, and then it stops. You use this part, it moves, then it stops. You move back to this part, you're using energy for it to move, then it stops. That start, stop syndrome is what eats away your time. What is much more productive is to start, move with pace, and then complete. I hope you enjoyed this video. Go ahead and hit like if you enjoyed the video. Share with someone who will benefit from this video. There are other videos. Check out some other videos on my channel, and I'll see you on my next video. And let's be more productive.